Have you ever wondered how that tangy, smoky, and sweet barbecue sauce ends up in your pantry, ready to transform your grilled chicken or ribs into a masterpiece? Well, today, we're taking a delicious deep dive into the step-by-step process of how barbecue sauce is made. From the fields where it all starts, to the high-tech factories where it all comes together. Oh, and of course, we'll also talk about all the different styles of barbecue sauce out there. Let's get started. The story of barbecue sauce begins with the arrival of Spanish explorers in the Caribbean during the 1500s. They encountered the Taino people who cooked meat on wooden frames called barbacoa and seasoned it with herbs, spices, and acidic marinades. The Spanish adopted this cooking style and introduced it to Europe, Africa, and the Americas. In the southern United States, barbecue as we know it evolved, and sauces emerged as essential components, influenced by African, European, and indigenous cooking traditions. Early sauces were simple: vinegar, salt, and pepper, and designed to tenderize and preserve meat. Over time, regional differences in ingredients and cooking styles gave rise to the variety of sauces we enjoy today. Barbecue sauce in the USA is as diverse as the people who love it. Each region has its own distinct style, reflecting local tastes, ingredients, and traditions. Alright guys, who wants to play a little game with me? How many barbecue sauce styles have you tried? The comment with the most styles of barbecue sauce wins. 1, 2, 3. Alright guys, time is over. That was fun. Can't wait to read your comments. And now, let me break down the major styles of barbecue sauce for you. Number 1, Kansas City style. Kansas City is the barbecue sauce superstar, and its style is the most popular across the country. The sauce is thick, rich, and sweet, thanks to molasses and brown sugar. It clings beautifully to ribs, brisket, and just about anything else you throw on the grill. A touch of smoke is key to its flavor profile, and it's often slathered on during the last stages of grilling to caramelize into a glossy finish. Texas style. Texas barbecue sauce varies depending on the region, but it's always about enhancing the meat, not overpowering it. Alabama white sauce. This unique barbecue sauce was created by Bob Gibson in Decatur, Alabama in the 1920s. Unlike tomato or vinegar-based sauces, this one is mayo-based. It's famously used as a finishing sauce for smoked chicken, adding a creamy, tangy kick. Pro tip: it also doubles as a great salad dressing or dip. Kentucky black barbecue sauce. This lesser-known sauce is famous in the Owensboro area, where mutton, yes, mutton, is the barbecue meat of choice. Kentucky black barbecue sauce is thin and dark thanks to Worcestershire sauce and pairs beautifully with the gamey flavor of smoked mutton. Georgia style. Georgia barbecue sauce is heavily influenced by Kansas City style, but with a local twist. Peaches. Some recipes incorporate peach preserves, or fresh peaches, giving the sauce a fruity undertone that pairs beautifully with pork. Wow, that was a lot, right? But as already said, barbecue styles are as many as the people who love it. Now, before we start the actual barbecue sauce production tour, I'd kindly ask you for a favor. We are putting our utmost effort into the videos for you, and your support is crucial for the growth of our channel. We would love creating more fascinating food discovery videos for you, so please like our videos and subscribe to our channel. So imagine this. You're sitting at lunch, about to take a spoonful of your hot mac and cheese that you just pulled out of the oven. But wait a second. Have you ever wondered where that delicious cheese that creates that crispy golden crust came from? Before we get into all the savory details, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on our behind-the-scenes tours of the most iconic foods. Let's go over the basics. Cheese starts with milk, preferably from a cow, but sometimes a goat, sheep, or even a buffalo, if you're feeling fancy. The milk is heated, then rennet and starter cultures are added, which causes the milk to separate into curds and whey. The type of cheese you end up with depends on several factors, like the type of milk, the bacteria used, how long it's aged, and whether or not it's been smoked, salted, or sprinkled with unicorn dust. Okay, not the unicorn dust part. Let's dive in and explore how all these ingredients come together to create the cheese we know and love. There are obviously a whole lot of different cheeses out there, but today, let's look closer at the cheese that you need for a good grilled cheese sandwich or a pizza that just melts perfectly in the oven. And it all starts with something pretty amazing. Happy cows. Yep, it's said that happy cows make the best milk. And some farmers are going the extra mile to make sure their cows are really happy. And when I say happy, I don't just mean giving them a nice cage to sit in and calling it a day. No, no, no. We're talking about the full BIP treatment. Picture this, a cow out in the sun, chewing grass like it's got no worries in the world. It's the life, right? These happy cows are free to roam and graze, which means they're producing some of the freshest, creamiest milk possible. Now, when it's time to get that milk, it's all about technique and care. Some farms still do it the old-fashioned way, by hand, if you can believe it. But most farms now use milking machines that gently extract the milk without stressing the cows. Once that milk is fresh and ready, it's time for a quick ride to the dairy factory, where milk gets its glow up and transforms into something we all know and love, cheese. First things first, before we can make cheese, we need to make sure that milk is top quality. So milk is tested to make sure it's fresh and free of any unwanted bacteria. Once everything's approved, we can move on to the next step. Next up, pasteurization. Now, this is a big word, but it's really just a fancy way of saying, let's heat the milk to kill any bad bacteria, but not so hot that we ruin the good stuff. The milk is heated to about 161 degrees Fahrenheit for around 15 seconds, killing off any harmful bacteria without losing the flavor and nutrients we want. But we're not done yet. We've got some special ingredients to add. To turn our milk into cheese, we need to add two key ingredients, rennet and starter cultures. The rennet is a special enzyme that helps the milk curdle. Think of it like a magic spell that turns liquid milk into solid curds. And the starter cultures are responsible for giving the cheese its flavor. These are like the little yeasty helpers that say, alright, it's time to start working. As the rennet does its thing, the milk begins to curdle and separate into curds and whey. And just like that, the liquid milk we started with is starting to look more like cheese. Now that the milk's turned into curds, it's time to cut them. But we're not cutting them willy-nilly. Oh no, we've got precision here. The curds are sliced into small uniform pieces, which will help them release the remaining liquid, the whey. And set the stage for that delicious, creamy texture we love. If you've ever seen a giant block of cheese, you can thank this step for that. Next, it's time to cook those curds and give them a gentle stir. The next step is all about getting the perfect texture. The curds are heated up just right to help them firm up and become, well, cheese-like. This is where that smooth, creamy texture starts to come together. It's a delicate balance. Too hot, and you get dry cheese. Too cool, and you're left with a soupy mess. Now it's time for the curds to take center stage. And the whey? Well, it's gotta go. Whey is the liquid that's left after the curds have formed. Some of it is used in other products, like protein powders, or even livestock feed, but most of it is separated and drained away. So long, whey. You had a good run. At this point, the curds are getting pretty solid, so they're gently pressed into molds to remove any leftover whey. And voila! What was once liquid milk is now starting to look a lot more like the cheese we know and love. The final step before the cheese is ready to age. Salting. Salt does two important things. It adds flavor, and it helps preserve the cheese. This is the step where the cheese gets its signature tang. Whether you're making cheddar, mozzarella, or Gouda, the amount of salt you add will determine how bold and delicious your cheese will be. Too much salt, and it's like you accidentally grabbed the wrong shaker. Too little, and well, it's just not the same. But when it's done, right? You've got that flavor-packed bite that makes your mac and cheese pop. Now, if you're making the cheese that we all like on our grilled sandwich, we are getting into the big leagues. The semi-hard and hard cheeses. These are the workhorses of the cheese world. Aging is like the cheese is climbing up the career ladder, getting even better with time. The aging process can take weeks or even months, depending on the type of cheese you're making. This is where all those complex flavors develop. It's like a cheese getting its PhD in tastiness. Now, let's take cheddar. It's probably the most famous cheese on the planet. The older cheddar gets, the sharper it becomes. A 6-month cheddar? Smooth and mild. A 5-year-old cheddar, sharp and full of character. But now over to the final step before your favorite cheese hits the grocery store shelf. Once the cheese has matured, it's time to package it up and ship it out. And voila! That's how milk from a happy cow becomes the cheese you love in your mac and cheese. So, the next time you dive into a cheesy meal, just remember, it all started with a happy cow, some science, and a little bit of patience. And now you're a cheese making expert too.
Did you know that Ukraine used to be the world's largest producer of sunflower oil? In fact, its vast golden fields supplied nearly half of the global market. But with war disrupting the region, global supply chains have taken a major hit. So, who's stepping up to fill the gap? With Ukraine struggling to sustain its sunflower oil output, other players have rushed in. Russia, led by giants like Rusagro, is now the top global producer, even finding new routes from Baltic terminals to markets in India and Southeast Asia. Meanwhile, Argentina, the EU, and even Serbia's Dijama are scaling up production to meet growing demand. So the world adjusts. But how exactly is sunflower oil made? Let's start back at the source, the fields. Sunflowers are planted in early spring, thriving under long, warm days. As they grow, their golden heads follow the arc of the sun, a phenomenon called heliotropism. By late summer, their petals wither and the heavy heads droop, signaling it's time for harvest. Specialized machines called combine harvesters sweep through the fields, cutting the plants and collecting thousands of seeds per minute. These seeds, small, dark, and packed with oil, are loaded into trucks and sent to the factory. The journey from sunshine to sunflower oil has just begun. But before we step into the factory, I'd like to ask you a question. Are you cooking with sunflower oil? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to know. And now let's continue with the factory process. At the factory, the seeds arrive dusty and mixed with stems, leaves, and soil. They first pass through vibrating screens to remove large debris, then into air classifiers, where a blast of air lifts away lighter particles like husks and dust. Next, gravity separators sort seeds by weight, removing damaged or empty ones. Finally, magnetic separators catch any stray metal fragments. The clean seeds are dried to the perfect moisture level and stored in silos, fresh, uniform, and ready for processing. From here on out, it's all about unlocking the oil inside. Before oil can be extracted, the sunflower seeds must be dehulled, their tough outer shells removed. Inside high-speed dehulling machines, the seeds are cracked open using impact and friction. The broken shells are then separated from the kernels using airflow and sieves. The result? Clean, oil-rich kernels, the part we actually want, ready for crushing. The discarded hulls are often reused for fuel, feed, or even industrial materials. Nothing goes to waste. The dehulled kernels are ground into a coarse paste called seed meal, thick, gritty, and rich with trapped oil. This paste is gently heated to about 60 to 70 degrees Celsius in conditioning tanks. The warmth softens the meal, loosens the oil, and deactivates enzymes that could spoil the final product. Now warm and pliable, the seed meal is ready for the next big step, extraction. At the heart of any oil mill lies one of the most powerful machines on the floor, the screw press, also known as the expeller. The preconditioned seed paste is fed into the press through a hopper at the top. Inside, a giant rotating screw, housed within a tightly fitted metal barrel, begins its work. As the screw turns, it pushes the seed paste forward along its spiral groove, applying increasing pressure with each inch. The space between the screw and the barrel becomes narrower, and the pressure builds, slowly crushing the paste, cell by cell. Under this intense compression, the oil begins to seep out. Small perforations in the barrel allow the liquid to escape, while the solid residue, now called oil cake or press cake, continues to move forward and is eventually expelled out the end. The first trickles of oil are thick, dark, and warm. This is known as crude sunflower oil, unfiltered, unrefined, and full of tiny seed particles. It may not look like much yet, but it's packed with potential. Meanwhile, the leftover press cake still holds a small amount of oil. Some factories stop here, using the press cake as high-protein animal feed, but others go a step further, sending the cake through a solvent extraction unit, where a chemical like hexane is used to draw out the remaining oil. This method allows for nearly complete oil recovery, especially in large-scale operations. Whether the oil comes from pressing or solvent extraction, it's then sent through a settling tank, where gravity allows heavy solids to sink and light particles to float, helping to begin the initial purification process. The crude sunflower oil flows from the press into a holding tank, where gravity does some of the initial work. Over several hours, heavier particles sink to the bottom, while lighter ones float. This natural separation gives the first layer of purification. But gravity alone isn't enough. The oil still contains fine sediments, gums, and microscopic solids, all of which must be removed before refining. That's where mechanical filtration comes in. The oil is pumped through a series of filter presses, powerful machines that use layers of tightly woven cloth or paper filter sheets to trap solid impurities. As the oil moves through, particles larger than a few microns are caught in the mesh, while the purified oil flows through. Depending on the factory, this process might happen in multiple stages, each filter finer than the last, removing progressively smaller contaminants. These filters are often arranged in a closed loop, so there's no contact with air, helping preserve freshness and prevent oxidation. What's left is a much cleaner product, filtered sunflower oil that now looks clearer, flows more easily, and has shed most of its impurities. But it still isn't quite finished. While the filtration stage improves clarity and removes debris, the oil still contains natural gums, waxes, free fatty acids, pigments, and odors, all of which affect its stability, flavor, and shelf life. To get it ready for cooking, bottling, and storage, the oil now heads to one of the most critical stages in the entire process, refining. Refining is where chemistry, engineering, and food science all come together, and it happens in a series of tightly controlled stages, each targeting a specific impurity, each bringing the oil one step closer to purity. The first challenge? Gums. These naturally occurring phospholipids are sticky and make the oil cloudy. To remove them, the oil is gently mixed with hot water or dilute acid in a reaction tank. This causes the gums to coagulate, clumping together so they can be separated from the oil. After neutralization, the oil is washed several times with warm, soft water to remove any remaining soap, salt, or chemical residues. Finally, the last, and perhaps most critical, step, deodorization. Though the oil is now clean, it still retains subtle aromas from the original seed. To remove them, the oil is heated under vacuum, often up to 180 to 230 degrees Celsius, while a stream of steam is passed through it. The steam strips away volatile compounds and odor molecules, leaving the oil neutral, mild, and ready for any cuisine. This final stage also helps destroy any remaining microbes, giving the oil a long shelf life without preservatives. At this point, the transformation is complete. But there's one final step before it reaches your table: bottling and packaging. Automatic machines fill bottles at high speed, seal them, and label each one with batch numbers and expiry dates. Then bottles are boxed, stacked, and shipped, headed to supermarkets, restaurants, and kitchens around the world. Thanks for joining us on this exciting food journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the foods that shape our world. And just in case you have missed some of the older episodes, we have you covered. We have attached a special selection of past Factory View episodes to this video. So stay with us and enjoy more fascinating food discoveries. See you in the next episode.